Yes, once again, I welcome you. Uh, agri students, to this e-facilitation session, the third week of this e-facilitation session for ANP313 poultry production. Yes, for those of you that are just joining us, the new registered students, I welcome you on board. I welcome you especially on board. Yes, you have not missed much. We are in the third week. And the topic of this third week is fundamentals for successful poultry production. Yes, that's what we shall be considering this week. I will not go into much rhetorics. I just want us to go straight to class. And so I welcome you on board. Let us go straight to class. You are welcome once again. Yes, yes, yes. You are welcome. You are welcome once again. You are welcome once again. Like I said, the topic of this week's facilitation is fundamentals for successful poultry production. Yes. Um, we were able to start 2 weeks ago, and now we are in the third week. Yes, without waste of time, let's move forward. Let us move forward. Yes, introduction. The transformation of plants, animals, and mineral matters into forms highly prized as a source of food for man. This is a primary basis for the poultry industry. From the nutritional standpoint, the nutrients contained in a poultry feed are as useful to man as to a laying hen. However, as eggs or poultry meat, these nutrients are in a much more palatable form. Now, for profitable poultry production, the conversion of feed to eggs and meat will be done efficiently and economically. Now, to formulate rations that will do this, it is necessary to know some things uh, of about the food nutrients and their use by the poultry. We have about four intended learning outcomes. At the end of today's topic, we should be able to explain the basic principles of feeds and feeding, and to state briefly the purpose of feeding. You are to also know about the appropriate means of selecting feed ingredients to compound diet for poultry, and also lastly to outline the forms of feed presentation to poultry. Let's briefly look at definition of some terms. Number one, we have nutrients. Nutrients refers to any feed constituent or group of feed constituents of same general chemical composition or a pure chemical compound that aids in the support of life. And these consist of basically carbohydrates, protein, minerals, vitamins, and water. Number two is feedstuff. Feedstuff. Now, this is quite synonymous with feed, or what we call food, food we take, or fodder for other animals. Although, in a broader sense, this covers all materials included in the diet because of their nutritional properties. It includes natural feeds of animal origin, synthetic and other pure nutrients which are added in the natural feeds. What is feed? A feed is a mixture of feedstuff blended or processed in a form which is acceptable to animals. It is merely the carrier of nutrients and potential energy in the ration. What is supplement? A supplement is a feed or feed mixture used with another feed to improve the nutritive balance of total ration, and it is intended to be fed undiluted as a supplement to other feeds. it could be offered free choice with other parts of the rations or further diluted or mixed to produce a complete feed. Now, what is a ration? A ration is an allowance of feed given to an animal over a specified period of time, for example, daily ration or weekly ration. It should furnish the entire nutrients required in adequate amounts. Yes, other definitions include diet, dry matter, hash, nitrogen feed extract, protein energy ratio. All these are provided in your course material. I may not be able to go through one after the other. If you have any challenge when we have live class, you may want to let me know. I'll explain better. Now let's go straight to classification of feed ingredients. Feed ingredients. Straight away we look at carbohydrates. That's a major feed ingredients in poultry. Now carbohydrates, which are the major source of energy in poultry diet, include the grains. For example, you have maize, guinea corn, millet, wheat, and broken rice. Another type of carbohydrate is cereal byproducts. This contains or they include maize bran or offal, wheat bran or offal, rice bran or offal, and guinea corn offal. Another is starch roots and tubers. Cassava flour, cassava chips, and sweet potato are examples of this. Now, the dietary inclusion of about 30 to 60% of these energy sources into the poultry diet is recommended, with the upper limit mainly for young growing birds. Let's go straight to the second classification of feed ingredient, and that's protein. Now, commonly used protein feed ingredients for poultry ration formulation and feeding includes the following. We have vegetable or plant sources such as groundnut cake, soya bean cake, fufa soya, cottonseed cake, palm kernel cake. Animal protein sources such as fish meal, meat, and bone meal, blood meal are other examples of protein sources. Number three under this classification is fats. Considerable quantities of fat are used in poultry feeding primarily as protein source of energy. Fats normally contain 2 to 3 times as much metabolizable energy per unit of weight as grains. The major sources available are vegetable oil, which include palm oil, groundnut oil, soybean oil, hard fats, soft fats, and hydrolyzed animal fat. Now, the usual practical limit for adding fat is 3 to 5% of the diet, although special technique pelleted diet may contain as high as 7 or 8% added fat. Rations very high in fat tend to cake and do not flow readily. Vitamins, that's another classification, number 4. Now the vitamins are commercially available in pure forms or as vitamin concentrates at relatively low cost. Now they can be added to a poultry feed by means of a premix, which supplies specified amount of each vitamin. Certain ingredients available for poultry feeds are potent sources of vitamins. These include yeast, fat solubles, distiller soluble, liver meal, alfalfa meal, and milk byproducts. Now, all the fat soluble vitamins that we normally refer to as ADEK, ADE, and K vitamins are supplied by fats and oils. Lastly, under this, or maybe not, is minerals. Minerals. Now, sources of the major minerals for poultry rations include bone meal, limestone, oyster shell, dicalcium phosphate, defluorinated phosphate, common salt, and trace mineral premix. And lastly, uh, is water. That's why I said lastly, or maybe not. Yes, you will say you will have. Can we say water is a form of classification of feed ingredient? Yes, yes, very well. Now, some water is available in the feed itself as metabolic water, but the bulk of it must be separately provided in drinking cans for poultry. Now, cool, clean water should be provided at all times. The water should be free from the excess salt, which might have a laxative effect. Include birds can be overweight, like overeating, because they constantly will consume feed, and of course that is not cost effective. Number two, meat type broiler breeders tend to overeat and grow excessively, thus compromising production efficiency and profitability. Overweight broiler breeders are prone to prolapse, reduced fertility, hatchability problems, and reproductive failures. Number two type of feeding system is the restricted or controlled feeding system, as we have mentioned. Now, this system allows feed to be supplied to birds in limited quantity and quality. Now, various bird strains are often grown on controlled feeding program to limit weight, particularly with broiler breeder strains. The female feed intake may be adjusted to delay egg at sexual maturity to maintain desired body weight and reduce prolapses. Now, if the birds are overweight, some form of feed restriction may also be imposed. Let's look at a few advantages of this system. One, reduction in the cost of feeding the birds during the growing period. That's a good disadvantage. Don't waste unnecessary food. Then two, feed restriction results in later maturing birds that lay larger eggs at the initial stage. We also have birds that are less fat, thus protecting the birds from breeding problems due to excess fat. It also leads to the production of more hatchable eggs during the laying year. Disadvantages include management of the restricted feeding program, which is more complicated than ad libitum feeding. Birds may be more uneven in body size, mainly because of the differential feed intake of boars versus timid birds. It is more troublesome, that's number three, to feed the birds because they fight among themselves in a bid to get at the feed. There can also be increase in cannibalism and mortality problems may ensue. uh, the all match system. This is used as a complete ground feed. It is well adapted to use with the mechanical feeding system, and we have majorly two types. The wet mash. uh, in this case, chicken usually eat more wet mash than dry because they enjoy its consistency. However, wet matches, particularly in hot weather, they go bad very quickly. Hence, only an amount which will be consumed within 2 hours should be fed. The second type of all mash system is the dry mash. When it is well balanced and stored properly, dry mash usually is the best way of feeding confined chickens. It is commercially sold with these designations: chick mash, which contains 20% protein; Kura mash, which contains 16 to 17% protein; and we have broiler mash, which contains 20 to 23% protein; and layer mash, which contains 15 to 17% protein. Now, the second type of form of feeds is pellet or crumbles. Now, commercial mixtures in pellet or crumble forms are excellent but usually cost more than much. Chickens may produce slightly better with the pelleted crumble or crumbled forms. Pellet and crumble feeds reduce feed waste and the chicken may eat them a little better. Then we have whole grain. Whole grain. Feed is often used for whole grain either by itself or mixed with other nutrients. Sometimes whole grain is scattered in the litter. The whole grain method of feeding is not recommended. When fed with other ingredients, grain is eaten first, resulting in improper diet. When scattered, much is contaminated or lost. Now we have the cafeteria. I think we'll stop here on the form of feed. And this allows the birds to balance their own rations. Grain is fed in one feeder and a high 26% protein supplement is fed in another feeder. Feed is kept in feeders at all times. Now, older birds may tend to eat too much grain and not enough protein supplement when this system is employed. All right, here we'll close for today, and of course, please, like how I always say, constantly visit the virtual learning platform and get yourself familiar with the announcement and information provided there. It's very important for you. All right, till we meet in the next class, I say bye bye. Bye bye.